This morning I'd like you to turn to Titus. We're going to be looking at Titus chapter 1, chapter 2, Luke chapter 24. So we've got a lot of ground to cover. Before we jump into Scripture, I'm sitting here thinking about the sermon, and a man came to mind called Mr. Engel. Now, he was a teacher that the first year I had him, all he did was laugh at me. And Mr. Engel, had this thing in his pocket. And he would pull it out as he's teaching, and he just did sound like an elephant. And he put it back in his pocket. And then as he continues to teach, he begins to do this. And he put them back on his head, and he put it back, and he would start all over. The first couple of weeks we had him, my friends and I, that happened to sit in the back, all we did, we couldn't do anything but laugh. How gross is that? And so we're having a good time at his expense, but I had always loved history. From the time I can remember reading books, it was most of them were fictional at that time about the early Americans and the Spanish-American War. You name it back, anything that dated me by 20 years was history to me at that time. And I just loved to read about it. And Mr. Engel was my early American history teacher. And he gave me a love for history that I could understand it. And I could begin to recall it. It was just something in the way he presented it. It was so real to him, and it was just one of those fantastic things that made a big difference. Then there was this one other teacher that I had, and let me back up a little before we get to that teacher. I hated English. I loved to read. I read. Mom and Dad used to have to yell and stuff because I'll finish this chapter and then I'll go do. But I'd get to the end of that chapter, and there was another chapter. And then Dad would come up and get me, or Mom would come up and get me, and usually the book was put away for the rest of the day. And this went all the way up into my teen years, anyway. But I loved to read, but I missed a lot in my reading because I hated English. Who cares?
How do you mean?
About a comma, easy there, now, you say that. And who cares about a comma, a period, a semicolon, just how it's made up, and what an interrogatory type sentence. But then as I began to preach, and I heard a pastor, I've mentioned him before, Stephen Manley, preach one word at a time. And he preached that same word over and over in different ways. So I began to listen to him, and my teacher, what did you say? My teacher, she finally began to explain enough that I could understand that it depended in great deal what that word meant on how things came before it. And came after it, and whether it was a comma or whatever that helped separate it, and what tense it was. Oh, I hated tenses growing up too. But I learned that English is bad. Now, I've had some great teachers in spiritual as well, but we're not going to go there. I do want you to look at Titus chapter 1, verse 1. Paul, a servant of God and an apostle of Jesus Christ, for the faith of God's elect and the knowledge of the truth that leads to godliness. Now, it doesn't say anything about the word teaching. But if you read what comes after it, you realize that Paul is servant of God, an apostle of Jesus Christ, for the faith of God's elect, and teaching the knowledge of the truth that will lead to godliness. The teach is assumed there simply by what you read after it in the way it's said. Isn't that cool? Y'all learned one thing today about English. I think I'm probably done with that part. the truth, teaching the knowledge of the truth that sets you free and of all holiness. Chapter 2 uses the word teach in interesting form. I do want you to understand that 12 times in 15 verses, it uses literally the word teach. If you add in the words encourage and show them and set before them and teaching them, and it is important that they, and the outcome is, you see it used over and over and over again. As much as 2.3 something percentage points per verse in that little chapter. What I want you to grasp this morning is that the teaching is important. Who do you teach? Who do I teach? I don't teach. I come up here and ramble, and you all assume that I'm teaching. I really don't know anything about what I'm saying. It's just kind of words that flow together, and you all go home and you feel better about yourselves when you leave. If that's really all you're getting, then I'm really not teaching or preaching very well. You see, there's this thing about teaching that you need to understand, and if you can't get it the first time, maybe we need to cover it a second time, or a third time, or a fourth time. I've never had to preach the same sermon over again, so apparently I'm pretty teacher.
Amen.
That's it? Oh, wow, that hurts, guys, I gotta tell you. Not that I expect any more. Turn to Luke chapter 24, verse 13 through 35 is I hope a story you know, and probably by heart. It's about these two men that are walking down a road known as the Emmaus Road. Now these two men have just been to church. They've been to a 3.5-year long revival. I mean, that's the reality of it. For 3.5 years, they were with the greatest teacher that has ever roamed the face of the earth, and they have incredible knowledge within them, or should have at this time. They stayed with Jesus for 3.5 years, so they must have enjoyed it. They must have liked the stories. Maybe it was just because of the miracles. I'm not sure. Is it possible that they learned anything? I mean, you hear all this stuff, and if you really read throughout the New Testament, especially the Gospels, you'll find that they all teach the same thing. It's about the law is still the law, but it's back there, and a new thing has come, and the blood will cover, and I'm going to die, and I'm going to be crucified, I'm going to be raised from the dead, and then I'll send you a comforter. And all these things have been given to them over and over again. Jesus comes on them at the end of his 3.5-year revival. And he walks up behind them, and they don't realize he's there at first, and they're downcast. That means they're walking there like this, like kind of like Aaron was this morning when we seemed so happy. Boy, wasn't that a great revival? Yes, sir. I'm so glad we went. Do you remember anything? Well, only that it must have been a bunch of lies, because nothing really happened. It must have been a bunch of lies because Jesus died. It must have been a bunch of lies because, the nation of Israel didn't rise. It was all the lies. Apparently, it doesn't mean much because we're still under the Roman thumb. And Jesus is walking behind them, and he just slowly catches up to them. And suddenly they realize there's a third person there. The same guy that taught them for 3.5 years, that led the 3.5-year revival, the same guy looked him in the eye and said, "What's up, guys? What's going on? How's come you got the hangdog look?" And they looked at him and said, "Haven't you heard? Israel's going to remain the same. Haven't you heard the King of Kings, as he said he was, died? Haven't you heard about the great crucifixion?" So sad. And Jesus looked at him and he said, "Oh, you means dumb. Stupid. Slow of mind or spirit. Making poor decisions. Stupid. Foolish. Have you ever been in a place where your teacher calls you fool? You slow of heart, you slow of mind. You're just dumb. My teachers never did what kids did. And it makes you feel really small. Can you imagine a grown man looking you in the eye after you tell him about this great calamity that's happened? Looking you in the eye and calling you a fool. Calling you dumb, stupid. Well, that's what Jesus does here. And he says, let me tell you all about this. And he starts there at the beginning, once again. And he talks to them all the way up through the great patriarchs. He takes them all the way up through the great kings. He takes them through he even went through Isaiah. Listen, talk about boring somebody to death. They get all the way through Isaiah and he begins to tell them about the new thing that's going to happen. And a really cool thing happened. And it doesn't describe it there, but at the very end of it, Jesus takes him in and he prays over him, and then he disappears. And wouldn't that be cool? You're sitting there, there's three of you, and he's praying, and you hear his voice praying, you open your eyes because he says amen, and all of a sudden there's only two people there. How wild would that be? And that happens, and they go, oh, that was Jesus. He really is alive. I don't think they believed at that point that he had died and come back to life. They just thought, he's alive. And they begin to talk and said, didn't you feel as he talked, the fire burning within us, new and afresh? The great teacher. The great teacher. We don't take Christianity seriously. See, I think that's really what happened with these guys. Because they're the only two it talks about like this. Everybody else is still back in Jerusalem. But there's two guys who didn't take any of it very serious, because immediately after the crucifixion, they're on the road home. They're going back to what they like, what they know, what they do. They're leaving all that behind because it must have been fake. So for 3.5 years, they must have just taken it very seriously. I can remember classes like that, and my wife and daughter would be greatly ashamed, and Alicia may even smack me later, I don't know. There's this thing called homework in school. I was a busy farm boy. That's my excuse. It's not a good thing. I would get home and Mom would say, do you have any homework? Well, just a little bit. I'll get it as soon as I was gone. And Mom would call us in for supper, and we each had our little duties after supper, and then we had to go out and finish our chores or whatever, and I come in and take a shower, but then halfway to school in the morning, this light comes on. Homework! I've got to do my homework. I don't suggest doing that, teens. It never worked out well. But I never took it seriously. You see, I had this problem. I could listen and get by. And I never took education seriously. Are you hearing, teens? I never did. I could get by without any effort, and if I didn't get my homework turned in, or if I did and I just got a check mark instead of a grade, or if, it was turned in, but, I'm not giving you any points for it. I didn't take it seriously. I did not school the average. I feel like he's hearing that. What is the average? I could have been a straight A student if I would have been serious. If we bring that back into the Word, been in this game a whole lot longer than 3.5 years. Most of us can sit down and at least write a few Bible verses, or we can say somewhere in, I'm good at that. Before they invented Google, I had a daughter who was quizzing, and hey, sweetheart, I yell up through the floor because she's upstairs. There's this verse that goes something like this. Where is it found? I heard it. I read it, but I still don't really take memorization of Scripture seriously. Not that I can. It's not serious. There's this problem that quite often happens when you don't take things seriously. You just start out with an apology to my wife because I did not take this seriously at the time. I was quite a romantic when we met. Obviously, you've seen our wedding pictures. You knew there was more to it than my good looks. And I decided at that time the thing was to write their own vows. And I knew what the vows were, so I kind of rewrote them in my own thing. And I wrote them. I read them over and over and over again. But then life got on the road. I'm standing in front of this crowd of people. What was it, 300 or so? 200? At least. We had huge families on this side. My beautiful wife is standing across from me. She did such a wonderful job. It just flowed right off the tongue. It was smooth. I got up there and I looked at her and I went, oh! Promised to love you forever, and she had to help me all the way through it. But I'm like, the pressures of that situation. How many times in our spiritual lives do we allow the pressures of the world, the situation of the world, cause us to go, there's somebody I should call. What's his name? It started with a J. Oh, Jesus. Well, I should call Jesus. Why should I call Jesus? We just don't take it serious. And here are two men for 3.5 years walked the face of the earth with the greatest teacher ever. I'm not talking about different pastors working in and out or evangelists. It was all Jesus, the very Son of God. He was who he said he was. He knew that's who he was. They knew what was going to happen. He told them, but they never took any of it seriously. And someday, there's going to be a trumpet that's going to blow, and when that trumpet blows, there's going to be a lot of Christians standing around going, I should know what that means. There's something I'm supposed to be ready for. I can remember that feeling, and somebody told me somewhere. But we never take it seriously enough.
Amen.
Because someday there's going to come that time of the grading period what Jesus has to teach you. I mean, think about what if those two disciples had kept going, they would have missed wind in a totally closed off room. They would have missed the tongues of fire that went around and sat on their head and never smoked one hair. Can you imagine hearing later that he could have been part of the greatest revival service he has ever known? And that the other disciples got to speak in languages they didn't know. Because I didn't take it seriously. Stand with